You know that feeling when you walk into your own apartment and everything smells wrong? Not like something died or like food went bad. More like expensive lavender body mist you never bought and some citrusy shampoo that whispers, "I'm not yours, but I've definitely touched all your towels." Yeah, that was the first sign. I had just come back from a 2-week marketing fellowship in Europe. All expenses paid. Professional recognition, a fancy leather-bound itinerary, hotel mints that cost more than my grocery bill. The works. First time I'd taken a real break in years. I was still carrying that floaty post-Tuscany calm, that warm, coffee and Greek sunlight glow. Gone the minute I opened my door. At first, I thought maybe I'd been robbed. The couch pillows were rearranged. My mug, the one that says "World's Okayest Sister," had lipstick on it. Coral pink. Not my color. Definitely Jessica's. And then there she was. My sister. On my couch. Wearing my silk robe. Scrolling through TikTok with her feet on the coffee table I assembled myself during a panic attack last winter. She looked up at me like I was the intruder. "Oh," she said, like she'd forgotten I existed. "Hey, you're back early." Not hi, not "how was your trip," not even a guilty flinch. Just a bored, spa-wasted oh. Now, before I go on, you should know something. Jessica is the human embodiment of dry shampoo and unchecked entitlement. 2 years younger. Grew up in the same house, but in a different universe. She once cried because the Lexus my parents got her for graduation wasn't the color she wanted. It was white. She wanted snow pearl. And apparently while I was eating croissants in Paris and giving a presentation in Berlin, my parents gave her a key to my apartment. To help her heal, my mom said later, voice trembling with practiced concern. From what? You might ask. A minor surgery? A breakdown? No. A divorce. Her ex-husband left her because, shocker, she drained their shared savings for emotional nourishment, aka bi-weekly Botox, scented candles in bulk, and a subscription box that sends artisanal bread to your door. She just needed some space. Amy, my dad added, like my apartment was some kind of Airbnb for emotionally bankrupt siblings. I looked around. My walls had been redecorated. She'd moved a framed picture of my dog to make room for a vision board. My fridge was stocked with kombucha. My linen closet now contained 3 weighted blankets and a stack of yoga mats. And in the middle of this bohemian rehab retreat stood me, luggage still in hand, wondering how I'd turned into the supporting character in my own life. But nothing prepared me for what I saw downstairs. My car, my gorgeous, perfect, silver gray SUV that I'd saved for since my late 20s. The one I bought cash down after driving a dying Honda with no AC for years. Gone. Space 247. Empty. I ran back upstairs. Jessica looked up again, only mildly irritated. "Oh," she said, "yeah, about that." And that's when I knew I was about to become the villain in a story I never asked to be part of. Because some things you don't forgive. And some things you burn down legally, of course. I'm not stupid. But I am done being the quiet one. I wish I could say I was shocked when Jessica told me what happened to my car. Instead, I felt that very specific kind of rage, the one that starts low, like a distant train, and gets louder, closer, until you realize you're standing dead center on the tracks. "I sold it," she said, like she was telling me she used my last avocado. "I'm sorry, what?" "I sold your car." "Well, technically Mom and Dad did. But it was for me." She shifted on the couch, tucking one leg under herself like a self-help influencer midlife stream. "I needed the money, and you weren't even here." I blinked at her. Once. Twice. Still there. Still on my couch. Still alive somehow. "You sold my car?" I asked again, because sometimes when your brain's on fire, Your mouth just hits replay. Yeah, she said, with the grace of someone who has never been told no in a meaningful way. Dad handled it. It wasn't a big deal. So I called him. I wasn't expecting an apology, but I was expecting at least a hint of shame. What I got instead was bureaucracy and khakis. Relax, Amy, he said, like I was being dramatic for having emotions. It was just a car. You weren't using it. Jessica needed help getting back on her feet. You'll understand someday. Understand what? Grand Theft Auto? Did you check whose name was on the title? I mean, yeah, it was in your name. But we're family. Family. That word. That umbrella excuse for every line they've ever crossed. That bulletproof vest for Jessica's behavior since we were kids. Family was their way of saying we do what we want, and you'll forgive us eventually because blood, right? But that's theft, I said. Like, legally. Amy, you have a good job. You can buy another one. It's not the end of the world. To them, it never is. Because I'm the fixer. The one who doesn't make a scene. The one who cleans up after the emotional wreckage Jessica leaves like glitter in a preschool. It wasn't about the SUV anymore. Not really. It was about the 3 years I drove a car that stalled at red lights just to save for something I wanted. It was about the spreadsheet I built to track down to the dollar how much I could afford every month. It was about standing at that dealership, signing papers with my own name, knowing for once I wasn't borrowing, begging, or compromising. And they took it. Because she asked. I hung up, walked to the fridge, opened it. There was a green juice labeled Jessica's Reset Cleanse. I picked it up, opened it, poured it straight into the sink. Because I was done. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, I was going to war. The quiet kind. The kind you don't see coming until it's already strangling your credit score and hauling your ass into court. They wanted to treat me like an ATM? Fine. Let's print some receipts. That night, I didn't sleep. It wasn't the usual tossing and turning kind of insomnia. No, this was revenge insomnia. The kind that turns your mind into a laser beam focused entirely on spreadsheets, bank statements, and legal statutes you've never read before but are suddenly obsessed with. The car was just the last straw. A $30,000 straw tied up in leather seats, a panoramic sunroof, and years of sacrifice. But it was also the key. Because unlike all the times I quietly paid for things just to keep the peace, this time, the paper trail pointed directly to me. So I started digging. First stop, the glove compartment file I kept under my bed. I'm type A. Don't judge me. Inside was everything from the purchase receipt to the insurance policy. Title in my name. Loan paid in full. I even had a sticky note with the VIN number and a printed Carfax report. You know, for fun. Next, the texts. My parents had never been careful about what they put in writing. My dad once texted me, "Can you loan Jessica $500 for her yoga retreat? We'll figure it out later." Spoiler, we never figured it out. I had years of those. Requests, apologies, guilt trips disguised as jokes. Screenshotted, labeled, time-stamped. Then came the photos. Christmases where I was conveniently cropped out of the family picture. Birthday dinners where I sat at the far end of the table like a forgotten cousin. One from last year where Jessica held up a gift bag with a new iPhone, and I held a candle. A used candle. I opened a Google Doc and titled it, Exhibit A, The Audacity. I wrote like my sanity depended on it. Every insult, every favor turned demand. Every time I'd been told, "You know your sister's going through a hard time," as if her life were a series of curated crises and mine didn't count because I filed my taxes on time. For hours and 2 pots of coffee later, I had a case file that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. By sunrise, I was on the phone with a lawyer. A real one. Not the my friend's brother kind. Her name was Ms. Levin. She specialized in family financial disputes and sounded like the kind of woman who wore sharp suits and didn't blink during depositions. She asked me to email everything I had. "Take your time," she said. "I'm ready now," I replied, already clicking send. There was a pause. Then, a short whistle. "You've been documenting all of this?" "Since I was 16. Another pause. "Good girl," she said. "Let's get your car back. Or at least make them wish they'd never touched it." For the first time in my adult life, someone wasn't asking me to be understanding. Someone saw the whole picture and called it theft. And I wasn't just the victim. I was the plaintiff. And I was about to turn every borrowed dollar into a reckoning. By the time the sheriff knocked on my apartment door 3 days later, I was ready. Like sick of your bullshit ready. Like iced coffee at 8 p.m. Just to feel alive ready. Jessica, on the other hand, was not. She opened the door wearing my robe again, this time with a face mask crusting over her T-zone and a glass of Pinot in one hand. The sheriff, a tall man with the voice of someone who has served more eviction notices than hot dinners, was polite but firm. "Jessica Morgan?" he asked. Her face twisted, confused. Yes." He handed her the envelope. "You have 72 hours to vacate the premises. You're not on the lease, and the legal tenant has filed for eviction through proper channels." Silence. Then a whine. "Amy, what the hell?" I stood behind the sheriff with my arms crossed and my lawyer's instructions running through my head like a legal chant. Calm voice. "No threats. Stick to the facts. You're squatting in my apartment, Jessica. That's not healing. That's illegal." She laughed the brittle, gasping kind of laugh that says, "Wait, you're serious?" And then, the tears. Of course the tears. Always with the tears. "My life is falling apart, Amy. My marriage ended, I had to move out, and now you're, what? Throwing me out like garbage?" "Jessica, you sold my car," I said flatly. "That wasn't me. That was Mom and Dad." "Oh, so you just took the money?" I reached across the counter and picked up her spa membership card, still in the welcome envelope. "You really needed the deep tissue renewal package?" She snatched it from me like I'd slapped her. "It was part of my healing journey." "Your healing journey cost me $30,000. The sheriff cleared his throat. "Ma'am, you can contest this through small claims if you disagree with the eviction. But for now, you need to start packing." Jessica stared at me like I'd pulled a knife. And then she screamed. Full meltdown. Slapped the robe belt against her thigh, stomped around the living room like a child being told no for the first time in her life. "You're being vindictive. You're acting like some psychopath. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this." That part almost made me laugh. "Forgive me?" "Good," I said. I stopped asking for their forgiveness the moment they stole from me and told me to calm down. She stormed into the guest room, my guest room, slamming drawers and flinging designer leggings into a Louis Vuitton duffel like she was packing for exile. I followed her just long enough to watch her fumble with her laptop charger. "You have 72 hours, Jessica," I repeated. "But the locks change after that. And the spa card? That's mine now. Consider it restitution." She shrieked something that sounded like unbelievable, and I smiled, just a little. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't the family doormat. I was the line they weren't supposed to cross. And now? Now I had consequences. It took exactly 6 hours for the group chat to erupt. Not 6 hours after the eviction notice was served. No, 6 hours after Jessica told Mom. Because God forbid anyone in our family suffer in silence, especially Jessica, whose version of private matters are live-streamed, hashtagged, and turned into mental health awareness posts featuring crying selfies and candle sponsorships. The ping came during a meeting. Then another. By the time I got back to my phone, It looked like my notification center had suffered a stroke. Family chat. 47 messages. The first one, of course, was from Mom. Mom, Amy, what have you done to your sister? I just got off the phone with her. She's sobbing. Sobbing. You served her papers? Like a criminal? Then came Dad, swooping in like he's got an honorary law degree. Dad, this is extreme. Whatever happened to talking things out like a family? Dad, you're being irrational, Amy. You're jeopardizing family unity. Family unity. That thing they only bring up when I stop being convenient. Then Jessica chimed in with the piece de resistance. Jessica, I'm literally traumatized. I was blindsided by the sheriff in a face mask while I was in my robe. Do you even care what this is doing to me? No, Jessica. I don't care. Not anymore. I didn't respond. I made myself a grilled cheese and ate it on the balcony while reading the rest of their implosion like a spectator at a very exclusive, deeply dysfunctional tennis match. Mom, Amy, she's your sister. She needed help. Dad, you could have come to us. We would have mediated. Jessica, you're making me look like a gold digger to everyone. I just needed a fresh start. Mom, Jessica's therapy isn't cheap, Amy. This stress isn't helping her recovery. That one stopped me. Her recovery. She stole my car, moved into my apartment uninvited, and rearranged my entire life like it was a yoga studio, and they were worried about her recovery. I left the chat. I didn't rage type. I didn't write a manifesto. I simply held down on the group name, scrolled to the bottom, and tapped leave conversation. I can't recommend it enough. A few hours later, I got a text from an unexpected number. Emma, 13, hi Aunt Amy. I just wanted to say I think what they're doing is really unfair. My mom always talks like you're selfish, but you're not. I hope you're okay. Emma, my niece, Olivia's daughter. The quiet one. The one who hides in books at holidays and never asks for seconds at dinner. She'd seen it too. I stared at her message for a long time. Not crying. Just still. Like my body had finally let the weight go. The validation I'd chased for 34 years, it hadn't come from my parents. Or Jessica. Or even the court. It came from a 13-year-old who noticed. And suddenly, I knew exactly what I had to do next. Not to hurt them. Not to gloat. But to burn their damn script to the ground. The night I got Emma's message, I did something I hadn't done in over a year. I opened the bottle of Pinot Noir I'd been saving for a good reason. Not a promotion, not a birthday, not some fake milestone cooked up by HR. Just this. A moment of clarity. I curled up on the couch, poured a generous glass, and read Emma's text again. And then I did something that surprised even me. I replied, "Thank you, sweetheart. That means more to me than you know." Then I put my phone on silent. I thought that would be the end of it. But around 10 p.m., it buzzed again, a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. When I checked it, I almost dropped the glass. Savannah? It's Vivian. Your father's sister. Your Aunt Vivian. Aunt Vivian. The family ghost. I hadn't heard that name in at least a decade. She'd vanished from family functions so completely I wasn't even sure she was still in the country. Growing up, her absence was always explained with vague phrases. She chose her career. She was never very maternal. You know how she is. I knew nothing, actually. I saw what you posted in the group chat before you left. Her message continued. Marcus showed me. He still gets the texts. I just wanted to say, you're not crazy. I went through the same thing. I sat frozen, wine in hand, breathing shallow. She left her number. I stared at it. Then I called. She answered on the first ring. Savannah, she said. Or do you go by Amy now? It's Amy, I said. I wasn't expecting you to call. Yeah. Well, she said, with a dry laugh, we Morgans are excellent at pretending things didn't happen. Until someone finally says it out loud. She told me everything. How she'd been ostracized for putting her career first. How my dad and mom made her feel like a traitor for not having kids. How she, too, had been cropped out of photos, uninvited to events, erased from their image of family. They made me feel small, she said. Until one day, I realized I wasn't the broken one. I was just the only one telling the truth. I didn't speak for a long time. Just listened to her voice, calm, composed, grounded. The voice of someone who'd walked through the fire and didn't apologize for the smoke. Amy, she said finally, you're not being selfish. You're being clear. There's a difference. And they hate clarity because it makes the rules visible. That's when it hit me. My entire life, I'd been trying to earn respect. Like it was a prize I'd one day unlock with enough good behavior. But respect isn't given like a trophy, it's taken. Seized. And once you take it, they don't know what to do with you. I'm not done, I said aloud. No, Aunt Vivian replied, her voice a low smile. You're just getting started. The next morning, I marched into Staples like a woman on a mission because I didn't need ink or paper clips. I needed vindication, color-coded and tabbed. I bought a heavy-duty binder, sheet protectors, and those obnoxiously bright Post-its shaped like arrows. The kind that scream, look here, Judge. I went home, cleared off my dining table, and started assembling what I would later refer to as the Binder of Doom. It had 4 sections. Vehicle ownership and theft, title in my name, proof of sale without my consent, insurance records, bank transfers to Jessica's account. Documented financial exploitation, screenshots of texts where my parents asked me to help out with Jessica's rent, car repairs, retreats, colonics. Yes, really. Pattern of unequal treatment, emails, photos, and examples of how my accomplishments were minimized while Jessica's mediocrity was celebrated, like she'd solved cancer. Personal statement, a calmly worded, legally reviewed account of everything. No name-calling. No emotion. Just facts. Cold, unignorable facts. I didn't want revenge. I wanted recognition. And maybe, just maybe, I wanted them to feel what it's like to be powerless for once. That's when the text came. Mom, we'd like to meet. No lawyers. Just the family. Please, Amy. I laughed out loud. No lawyers? The woman who'd once brought her accountant to a dinner argument about my taxes now wanted to go full kumbaya? Hard pass. But then I got an idea. I agreed on my terms. A neutral location. A public setting. Short and time-bound. I chose a downtown coffee shop, the kind where the music is soft, the Wi-Fi is fast, and no one yells because it's next to a courthouse. I arrived early, binder in hand, blazer sharp, hair pulled back like I was preparing to fire someone. I ordered a black coffee and waited at a table by the window. They walked in together, like always, mom in pearls, dad in business casual condescension, Jessica in designer sunglasses indoors. They sat down without saying a word. I opened the binder. I'm not here for apologies, I said. I'm here to set terms. My mother gasped, like I'd slapped her with a legal brief. Amy, this isn't a courtroom. No, but it will be if you keep interrupting. Jessica rolled her eyes. Oh my God, you're really going through with this? You stole my property, I said. Then occupied my home. Then tried to gaslight me into thinking I was overreacting. You're lucky I didn't call the police. Dad leaned forward, clasping his hands. You're blowing this way out of proportion. A civil conversation could have. You sold a $30,000 car like it was yours to give. He opened his mouth, then shut it. Good. Let it sit. I slid the binder across the table. These are my demands. Legal reimbursement. A written admission of fault. And you stay the hell out of my finances, my property, and my apartment. Forever. Jessica scoffed. You're threatening your own family. No, I said, standing up. I'm protecting myself from them. And for the first time, I think they realized I wasn't bluffing. I was done. I expected silence after that binder showdown. Or maybe legal threats. Or a long-winded email from my dad full of thinly veiled moralizing about what it means to be a Morgan. What I didn't expect was a group text from Brandon, my cousin, and perhaps the blandest man alive. Brandon, emergency family meeting tomorrow night. 7 p.m. Mom and Dad's house. Brandon, resent. The Savannah situation. Brandon again, Amy not invited. That's right. They organized an entire meeting about me. A summit, if you will. The kind they usually reserved for estate planning or when Uncle Rick got caught embezzling from his own HOA. I laughed. Alone in my apartment, binder resting like a sleeping beast on my dining table, I laughed until my side ached. They were scrambling. And not just because of the lawsuit. No, because the narrative was slipping. For decades, they controlled the story. Amy's uptight. Amy's cold. Amy doesn't get family. But now? Now I'd weaponized reality. Documented it. Shared it. They were used to their drama being private, aired out behind closed doors, and reabsorbed by casseroles and cheap Chardonnay. Now, their golden child was under legal fire, and the difficult daughter wasn't playing along. An hour later, my phone pinged again. This time, it was from Emma. Emma, 13, you'll love this. Screenshot below. It was a blurry shot of the living room, Jessica mid-rant, Mom clutching a tissue like she was starring in a suburban soap opera, and Dad pacing like a man who couldn't believe his parenting ROI had tanked this hard. Underneath, Emma's caption. They're freaking out. Grandma said you've fractured the family legacy. Also, Aunt Jessica's fake crying again. It's better than Netflix. I nearly dropped my phone. I laughed so hard I did drop my wine glass. Shattered across the hardwood. And it felt good. Like cracking something open that had been festering for years. See, what they didn't understand, what they still don't understand, is that I was never trying to destroy them. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was looking for respect. For acknowledgement. For the same damn consideration Jessica got just for existing with fake lashes and a Pilates membership. But when you ask people who benefit from your silence to treat you fairly, they don't reflect. They retaliate. That night, I made a choice. I wasn't going to wait around for some half-hearted apology engineered by a family council. I was going to take it further. Because people like them only learn two ways, through shame or through exposure. So I wrote an email. Subject: a formal accounting of a lifetime of overlooked debts. I attached the binder as a PDF. I sent it to every member of my extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, even Great Aunt Lou in Sarasota, who only ever replies with "praying for you, honey." And then I went to bed. Peacefully. While they stayed up, rewriting the family history I'd finally annotated with the truth. When I hit send on that email, I felt like I'd launched a missile and then just made tea. No anxiety. No second guessing. Just a mug of chamomile and the hum of satisfaction vibrating quietly in my chest. I didn't stay up waiting for reactions. I wasn't biting my nails or refreshing my inbox like a teenager after a breakup text. Because here's the thing. When you've spent your entire adult life being gaslit by people who call themselves family, the moment you choose truth over harmony is the moment you get your power back. Still, I woke up to chaos. 57 emails. 11 voicemails. 3 text messages that just said, wow. My cousin Michael, who once borrowed $4,000 from me for a food truck that mysteriously never materialized, sent a single-line reply. I've watched this happen for years and never said anything. I'm sorry. 2 aunts responded with various flavors of you go. Girl professionalism. Even my mother's best friend, the kind of woman who wears tennis skirts to brunch and once accused her Roomba of communism, sent a DM. I've known your mother for 30 years. You're right, Amy. I've seen it. But the one that really hit me came from Aunt Vivian. Subject: you did it. Amy, I read every word. You said what I couldn't. You did what I didn't. You're not just brave, you're free. Let me know if you want help picking a good wine for your celebration. Vivian. God, I wished I had known her growing up. The women in our family weren't supposed to be loud. We were supposed to be nice, forgiving, soft-spoken. Vivian was none of those things, and they buried her for it. Now they were watching the sequel. Only this time, the ending wasn't silence. Then came the phone call I had been expecting, but not dreading. It was Olivia, Jessica's older sister. The quieter golden child. Polished, composed, always the one to smooth things over while letting the rest of us bleed underneath. Hey, she said. Do you have a minute? I do, I said, neutral. I wanted to say something, she started, her voice lower, slower. Greg, my husband, said something last night. He asked why you were always treated differently. I couldn't answer him. I didn't speak. I wanted to see where she was going without my help. I realized I just accepted it. The way they spoke to you. The way they made everything about Jessica. I laughed at the jokes. I told the jokes. I didn't think about how it felt for you. There was a pause. I'm sorry. And for the first time, I felt it wasn't scripted. It wasn't performative. It wasn't about preserving their image. It was real. I let the silence sit a second longer, then replied, thank you. Because even though I wasn't doing this for an apology, I wasn't above recognizing growth when it finally, painfully showed up. But I also knew the next move wasn't hers to make. It was mine. And I was about to make it in public. The invitation arrived the next day like a white flag disguised in email formatting. Subject: family dinner hosted by the Reeves. We'd love to have an honest conversation together. Location: Delilah's Bistro, downtown. Seating arranged by Amy Reeves. Time: your convenience. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not because I didn't know what to do, but because I had never seen my family this scared. This careful. They were letting me choose the location. The time. Even the damn seating chart. That wasn't kindness. That was damage control. They'd lost control of the narrative, and now they were trying to broker a peace treaty without surrendering the territory. But fine. Let's meet. Let's eat. Let's dissect 3 decades of dysfunction between the creme brulee and the check. I chose a round table. Equal sides. No head. No end. I arrived 20 minutes early, binder tucked under one arm like a holy text, wearing a deep burgundy blazer sharp enough to qualify as a weapon. I placed name cards deliberately, Jessica next to Olivia. My parents across from me. No alliances. No flanking maneuvers. Just one clear line of sight from my eyes to theirs. They arrived late, of course. Like royals summoned to a courtroom. Jessica looked like she was headed to a brunch where she planned to pretend she didn't know what eviction meant. Mom was already blinking too fast. Dad wore his disappointment like aftershave. Thank you for coming, I said. Calm. Cool. CEO tone. We sat. They tried small talk. I didn't take the bait. No commentary on the weather or the menu. Just water. Just waiting. Then Dad cleared his throat. We think we all agree that family unity is the priority. Stop. I held up one finger. I'll speak first. And I did. I laid it all out, not just the car, not just the squatting, not just the casual financial theft. I talked about the patterns. The birthdays spent watching Jessica unwrap luxury while I got stationery. The way my job was always cute, but hers was important, even when I out-earned everyone at the table. I read excerpts from their own messages. I presented photos cropped around my absence. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I let facts do the damage. They didn't interrupt. Maybe because they were stunned. Maybe because they were scared. When I finished, I folded my hands and said, I'm not here to burn bridges. I'm here to stop rebuilding them alone. Silence. Then Mom spoke, voice small, brittle. I never thought of you as less. I just didn't know how to support you. You always seemed okay. I made myself okay, I said. You made Jessica the priority. I had no choice. Jessica, to her credit, didn't try to fake tears this time. She just looked down at her plate. And for once, that was enough. When the check came, I paid it. Not to make a point, but to make it clear. This table? I built it. And this seat? It's mine.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Write in the comments whether the author of the thread did the right thing.